In the dim light of her apartment, 24-year-old Lyra Valen sat on the edge of her bed, staring at the framed portrait that had watched over her since childhood. It was the image of a man in battle-worn armor. His visor cracked, his uniform marked with ash and light burns. The name tag read Captain Elias Ward, the most decorated soldier of the Andromeda conflict. He wasn't family. Not really. Lyra had grown up idolizing him after finding his image in an old holomag her late father kept. The stories about Ward were the stuff of history books. How he led the final charge against the XYR Dominion. How his ship was destroyed saving thousands on Titan Base Alpha. How his body was never recovered. Lyra whispered softly, "You were everything humanity stood for." The frame flickered slightly. Just a reflection from the neon sign outside, she told herself. She ran a hand through her tangled hair, trying to shake the creeping loneliness that had become her closest friend. Working as a system coder for the Earth Defense Archive was fulfilling enough, but her personal life had fallen into static repetition. The only time she felt something more than routine was when she stared at that portrait. Tonight, however, something felt different. As she powered down her hollow tablet, a surge of electricity hummed through the walls. The lights flickered. The glass of the portrait shimmered, like a rippling surface of water. Lyra froze, her hand instinctively reaching for the emergency blaster in her drawer. "System overload," she murmured, but her voice trembled. Then the portrait glowed. The image of Captain Ward, once frozen in a static pose, moved. His eyes blinked open. The edges of the frame pulsed with white light, and before Lyra could scream, the glass shattered outward. A blinding burst of energy filled the room, and when the light faded, a figure stood there amidst the smoke. Muscular, armored in the faded, scorched suit of an Earth defense soldier, the exact same one from the portrait. His chest plate flickered with faint blue power lines, his left arm still bearing the insignia of the Andromeda campaign. Lyra's mind could barely process it. "See Captain Ward." The man raised his head. His eyes, a piercing steel gray, locked onto hers. "Where am I?" His voice was hoarse, tired, but unmistakably human. Lyra's blaster clattered to the floor. "This can't be real." Ward looked around, confusion twisting his features. "This isn't Titan Base. The air's different. And you, who are you?" Lyra's pulse hammered in her ears. "My name's Lyra Valen. You're supposed to be dead. You vanished over a century ago." The soldier's expression hardened. "A century." Lyra nodded slowly. "The Andromeda conflict ended 107 years ago. You became a legend." Ward took a step back, as if struck by invisible force. He ran a gloved hand over the wall, the bed, the strange metallic devices surrounding him. Devices to him, commonplace furniture to her. "I was in the reactor chamber," he murmured. "We were overloading the drive to stop the XYR fleet. There was an explosion. I thought." His voice faltered. "I thought I died." Lyra swallowed hard. "Maybe you did. Or maybe somehow you were preserved in the quantum field. The Defense Archive has been digitizing fragments from the old wars, trying to reconstruct moments in virtual form. Maybe they brought me back." Ward finished grimly. "By accident." He looked down at his trembling hands. The faint blue glow from his armor seemed to pulse with his heartbeat. "Then this isn't resurrection. It's interference." Something rewired the boundary between memory and matter. Lyra nodded, half in disbelief. "You're alive. Somehow." For several seconds neither spoke. The quiet hum of her apartment filled the air, the distant hum of sky cars outside, the rain against the window. Then Ward looked at her again, his voice softer. You said, I became a legend. Lyra smiled faintly. More than that. Every child in the Earth colonies learns your name. You're the reason humanity survived. He exhaled slowly. Then maybe it was worth it. Middle the man out of time. Over the next few days, Lyra tried to hide Ward from the world. His existence, if discovered, could shatter everything, the laws of physics, the ethics of memory reconstruction, even military secrecy. She created a false identity for him. Eli Warren, a distant relative from off-world. Ward, adjusting to the modern century, learned quickly. His mind, trained for battle, tactics, and adaptation, absorbed everything she taught. But at night, when the lights dimmed, he would sit by the window, staring at the neon-lit skyline. So this is what we fought for, he would whisper. A world of glass towers and silence. Lyra joined him one night, handing him a steaming cup of synth coffee. You sound disappointed. Ward took a sip, grimacing slightly at the taste. We fought for humanity's survival. But this... He gestured at the endless stream of drones flying past. Where are the people? Where's the spark? Lyra chuckled softly. You really are from another time. People live mostly in virtual habitats now. The real world's too expensive for most. Ward shook his head. The war was supposed to give humanity a chance to live, not hide. She studied him carefully. The deep lines on his face were not from age but from battle. Despite the century gap, he carried the weight of leadership, of guilt, of loss. One night, as Lyra scrolled through archived data, she stumbled upon something alarming. An encrypted transmission buried in the Earth Defense Archive network. It mentioned Project Titan Rebirth. Her stomach tightened. When she decrypted it, the message displayed coordinates, a secret facility orbiting Neptune, and a directive. Activate Subject Ward. Quantum resonance transfer scheduled. Prepare containment. Her hands trembled. They knew. Ward looked up from across the room. What is it? They weren't trying to remember you, Captain. They were trying to bring you back. On purpose. But it failed. Somehow, your energy pattern connected with my holodisplay instead of their containment field. Ward's jaw tightened. So they'll be looking for me. Before Lyra could respond, her apartment lights dimmed again. The air vibrated with the same electric hum from that first night. They found us, Ward said grimly. Chase. The window exploded inward as black armored drones swarmed through, their sensors scanning rapidly. Lyra screamed and ducked as Ward grabbed her arm, pulling her behind the bed. EMP pulse, he shouted. Close your eyes. He slammed his gauntlet against his chest plate, triggering a surge of blue light. The drones fell from the air, smoking and sparking. Lyra's heart pounded. How did you? Military tech. Part of my armor's still functional, he said. But we need to move. Now. They fled into the neon-lit streets of Neo-London Sector 12, blending into the endless rain. The world around them was a fusion of light and decay. Sleek skyscrapers rising above streets littered with digital advertisements and mechanical beggars. Ward's armor glowed faintly under his cloak, and every shadow seemed to follow them. Lyra led him through old maintenance tunnels beneath the city. We can reach the old spaceport from here. I have access to a transport. Ward nodded. We'll need to destroy the data link. If they reactivate the project, they'll use it to anchor others, soldiers who should remain dead. You mean there are more? His expression darkened. Thousands of us died in that war. If they're trying to extract our patterns from the quantum field, they'll build an army of ghosts. When they reached the abandoned port, Lyra hacked the hangar gates open. A battered shuttle rested inside, coated in dust. Ward smiled faintly. Reminds me of the old Vanguard shuttles. You sure this thing can fly? Lyra smirked. Only one way to find out. As they lifted off, the storm intensified. Lightning flashed across the horizon as the city shrank below them. Ward looked out the viewport. You risked everything to help me. Why? Lyra hesitated. Because you were my hero. All my life I looked at your picture and wondered what kind of man could sacrifice everything for others. Now I know. And I won't let them turn you into a weapon. Ward's gaze softened. You remind me of someone I once knew. Medic, brave, stubborn. She didn't survive Titan Base. Lyra smiled sadly. Then maybe. I meant to finish what she started. Climax, the ghosts of Titan. When they reached the Neptune facility, it was worse than Lyra imagined. The structure floated in orbit, a massive ring of glass and steel glowing with eerie blue light. Ward accessed the comm logs through his armor. They've already initiated the resonance transfer. If they complete it, hundreds of old consciousness patterns will materialize, unstable, trapped between time and reality. They docked quietly and slipped inside. The corridors were lined with containment pods, each flickering with human silhouettes. Lyra whispered, "They're alive." "Not yet," Ward said grimly. "But they will be if we don't stop this." At the center of the station, a colossal reactor pulsed with the same energy that had pulled Ward from the portrait. He approached the console. "I can overload it, the same way I did a century ago." Lyra grabbed his arm. "No. You'll die again." Ward smiled faintly. Maybe that's the way it was always meant to be. Before she could argue, alarms blared. Armed drones poured into the chamber, followed by a tall figure in a silver uniform. Director Kane, head of the Defense Archive. "Captain Ward," Kane said coldly. "You are humanity's property now. You belong to history." Ward stepped forward, eyes blazing. "History doesn't belong in chains." He slammed his fist onto the console. The entire chamber erupted in light as containment pods shattered, releasing streams of raw quantum energy. The drones collapsed. The station trembled violently. Lyra reached for him. "Elias, we have to go." He looked back at her, his form already flickering. "You gave me a second chance to see what we became. Tell them to live, not just survive." "No," she cried, but the energy consumed him. The last thing she saw was his faint smile before he dissolved into light, ending the wall once more. Weeks later, Lyra returned to her apartment. The city continued as if nothing had happened. Drones patrolling, neon signs blinking endlessly. But on her wall, where the shattered frame once hung, there was now a new image. Not printed or projected, but burned faintly into the glass itself. It showed Captain Elias Ward standing tall, his hand raised in salute. And beneath it, a single line appeared. "The future belongs to the living." Lyra touched the glass gently, tears welling in her eyes. "Goodbye, Captain," she whispered. "And thank you." Outside, the morning sun broke through the clouds for the first time in weeks, casting warm light across her room. And for a brief, impossible moment, the faint reflection of a man in armor appeared beside her, smiling before fading away.